There once was an immensely rich old Englishman who had been a courier and a counsellor to the Queen, and who now in his old age cared for nothing but collecting ancient blue china. To that end he travelled to Persia, Japan and China, and he was everywhere accompanied by his daughter, the Lady Helena. It happened as they sailed in the China Sea that the ship caught fire on a still night, and everybody went into the lifeboats and left her. In the dark and confusion, the old peer was separated from his daughter. Lady Helena got up on deck late and found the ship quite deserted. In the last moment, a young English sailor carried her down into a lifeboat that had been forgotten. To the two fugitives it seemed as if fire was following them from all sides. For the phosphorescence played in the dark sea, and as they looked up, a falling star ran across the sky, as if it was going to drop into the boat. They sailed for 9 days, till they were picked up by a Dutch merchantman and came home to England. The old lord had believed his daughter to be dead. He now wept with joy, and at once he took her off to a fashionable watering place, so that she might recover from the hardships she had gone through. And as he thought it must be unpleasant to her that a young sailor who made his bread in the merchant service should tell the world that he had sailed for 9 days alone with a peer's daughter, he paid the boy a fine sum and made him promise to go shipping in the other hemisphere and never come back. For what, said the old nobleman, would be the good of that? When Lady Helena recovered, and they gave her the news of the court and of her family, and in the end also told her how the young sailor had been sent away never to come back, they found that her mind had suffered from the trials, and that she cared for nothing in all the world. She would not go back to her father's castle in its park, nor go to court, nor travel to any gay town of the continent. The only thing which she now wanted to do was to go, like her father before her, to collect rare blue china. So she began to sail, from one country to the other, and her father went with her. In her search she told people, with whom she dealt, that she was looking for a particular blue color and would pay any price for it. But although she bought many 100 blue jars and bowls, she would always after a time put them aside and say, "Alas, alas, it is not the right blue." Her father, when they had sailed for many years, suggested to her that perhaps the color which she sought did not exist. "Oh God, Papa," said she, "how can you speak so wickedly? Surely there must be some of it left from the time when all the world was blue." Her 2 old aunts in England implored her to come back, still to make a great match. But she answered them, "Nay, I have got to sail. For you must know, dear aunts, that it is all nonsense when learned people tell you that the seas have got a bottom to them. On the contrary, the water, which is the noblest of elements, does of course go all through the earth, so that our planet really floats in the ether, like a soap bubble. And there, on the other hemisphere, a ship sails, with which I have got to keep pace. We two are like the reflection of one another in the deep sea, and the ship of which I speak is always exactly beneath my own ship, upon the opposite side of the globe. You have never seen a big fish swimming underneath a boat, following it like a dark blue shade in the water. But in that way this ship goes, like the shadow of my ship, and I draw it to and fro wherever I go, as the moon draws the tides all through the bulk of the earth. If I stopped sailing, what would those poor sailors who made their bread in the merchant service do? But I shall tell you a secret," she said. "In the end, my ship will go down to the center of the globe, and at the very same hour the other ship will sink as well, for people call it sinking, although I can assure you that there is no up and down in the sea, and there in the midst of the world we two shall meet." Many years passed. The old lord died, and Lady Helena became old and deaf, but she still sailed. Then it happened, after the plunder of the summer palace of the Emperor of China, that a merchant brought her a very old blue jar. The moment she set eyes on it, she gave a terrible shriek. "There it is!" she cried. "I have found it at last. This is the true blue. Oh, how light it makes one! Oh, it is as fresh as a breeze, as deep as a deep secret, as full as I say not what." With trembling hands she held the jar to her bosom and sat for 6 hours sunk in contemplation of it. Then she said to her doctor and her lady companion, "Now I can die, and when I am dead you will cut out my heart and lay it in the blue jar, for then everything will be as it was then. All shall be blue around me, and in the midst of the blue world my heart will be innocent and free, and will beat gently, like a wake that sings, like the drops that fall from an oar blade." A little later she asked them, "Is it not a sweet thing to think that if only you have patience, all that has ever been will come back to you?" Shortly afterwards the old lady died,